All right, hello, Honors 410. So for today's session, I'm going to aim to keep things on the short side because, again, we have kind of a bunch of moving parts going on in the class right now. But so I'm going to wrap up my discussion around rain before giving it over to the group-led video discussions for this novella. But so I have, I think, just 4 specific spots I'm going to take us to in this particular session. So the first one is on page 398. It's this chapter that starts, it went back into the Rusted's house. Excuse me, I went back into the Rusted's house. So I wanted to look at 399 into 402. And rather than summarizing the plot, rather than reading a longer section to you, let me just pose it as a question. What does Honeysuckle actually choose to do to Gumby in this section here? And is what she does actually justified? Do we agree with the decisions that she makes under this combination of circumstances that Hill portrays for us here? Or do we think the Honeysuckle is kind of gone too far at this point? Or might you even want to argue that she's not gone far enough? I'm sort of interested in reactions to this segment of the text. On 408 here, maybe let's go ahead and read this particular section. So this is a shorter chapter that starts, I was almost back to the pike. So yeah, just go ahead and read this. I was almost back to the pike when I came across Dillett's John Deere, crashed through a fence of slender wooden posts and dumped in a dusty lot, just shy of a bridge over the brown, noisy rush of the South Platte River. The windshield had been shattered into a dozen spiderweb fractures from the evening's rain. The driver's side door hung open on darkness. I climbed up on the running board for a peek inside. The interior was empty but scattered with bloody $100 bills. The handcuffs hung from the steel bar under the dash. Someone had left what at first looked like a filthy, uncooked sausage on the driver's seat. I leaned close, squinting at it, trying to figure out what it was. Then realized it was a thumb, and recoiled so fast I almost fell out onto the dirt. My stomach turned. Someone had clipped Teasdale's thumb off so he could slip the cuffs, and then his mystery accomplice had attempted to stanch the blood with money. The bleeding with money. There were some torn strips of bloody white silk on the floor, and something glittering in the footwell of the passenger seat. I reached in and picked it out, a fake golden tiara. I didn't know for sure that Teasdale met the Queen of the Apocalypse. I can't swear that she cut off part of his hand to enable this escape, or that she bandaged him with ribbons torn from her wedding dress, padded with money out of her carpet bag. I cannot tell you if the two of them went to Canada together. Maybe they did, though. Maybe she taught him how to walk between raindrops. So this moment here, it's kind of a pretty stark, kind of violent image that we have here. And so I'm curious just about sort of why this might be included, what we sort of make sense of this, where is largely Honeysuckle coming upon this scene without having actually seen what caused it, without actually having a sense of the actions that occurred prior to this and making some assumptions around this. There's this concept of synesthesia, of us kind of seeking patterns when they aren't necessarily there to kind of understand the world. And I think that might help inform our reading of this. But in general, kind of what the feeling we have coming out of this section is, and again, kind of, I think this is one of those sections of this text that in terms of this plot, we could probably just sort of lift out and it wouldn't really impact the broader story. Why we think Hill chooses to include it. Okay, carrying on from that though, on 422, so this is more towards the middle of things, like it's not right kind of neatly towards the chapter break. It's in the chapter that starts, I stood on the porch. But so in this section here, we have, let's see, isn't that the true? One of the foibles of doing this live on these videos is sometimes I don't follow my own notes here super well. But so let's see. I'm going to kind of just kind of reference the content here in general. Maybe in particular this. You know what? Actually, I'm going to skip ahead here. I'm sorry. 422. I was right. I have some notes to myself about shorter paragraphs here, but I can't seem to put my finger on exactly where I was going with that. So I'm just going to kind of move ahead here. I had it under my notes in a similar section here. This is on 426. So this is getting right towards the end here, but it's that chapter that starts, and that's about all I have to tell. So on 426, the last sentence of the third paragraph is what I have marked here. So let me just read that third paragraph in general here. Ursula herself had, I heard, 897 nails in her head by the end. She was a red carpet stuck full of blades. I hope she died knowing her boy was going to live, that she had saved him. What she did to us, to the world, to the sky, is unforgivable. But I wouldn't want any other mother to die feeling she'd failed to protect her child. Justice and cruelty are not the same. And knowing that is the difference between being right in your head and being someone like Ursula Blake. And so this idea of justice and cruelty and the way the Hill kind of pits these ideas against one another, I'm just sort of curious of the impact of that, whether we agree with that idea and how we sort of read into that idea more generally. I'll ask kind of a broader question here, which is because, again, we're at the end of the book here. What we sort of ultimately think of this ending for Rain, rather. Do we sort of think this is an effective ending? Were we kind of let down by it? I've had students kind of express a range of views on this in the past. So it's sort of interesting in what you sort of think of all of this. And it's just a last note. Part of what I kind of think is interesting about the concept of this novella, it's the idea of, essentially nails sort of raining down. And I think of this particular image as being kind of powerful, sort of communicating a broader idea of chaos, of kind of this apocalyptic scenario in general. When we think of nails and what they generally do, they're there to hold things together, right? We put nails in things to, hang them on the wall, to, pin pieces of wood together, to build things, so on and so forth. And this story being so the opposite, right? That this form of rain of nails is tearing everything apart, is kind of seems like the end of the world, is certainly deadly, and it's sort of underscoring a particularly kind of chaotic mode of apocalypse, right? That everything is kind of turned on its head. What we understand to be the purpose and meaning of things is the opposite of what they're actually doing in practice in this given moment. Which I think is a pretty interesting idea, and so I'm just curious, thoughts related to that, but also just more broadly, reactions to kind of the broader kind of symbols we see here. Maybe you kind of read the rain in a slightly different way than I've put forth here. That's fine. I was kind of interested in hearing other interpretations of that sort of thing. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop there. I want to keep this one short. So as always, please feel free to shoot off to other parts of the text as well. But I've tried to kind of do some looser kind of skimming of parts of this, in part to leave our groups plenty of room to kind of be able to address some other material as well and drill into some things we haven't drilled into as much yet with what I've kind of mentioned in these video lectures. So I'm excited to see what they do with it as well. But thanks as always for watching, and I'll see y'all soon.